Did you ever notice that it seems like you are trying your hardest to lose? You're dieting all the time, but these other people around you seem to be making all types of progress. They seem to be losing inches. They seem to be losing weight. Their body seems to be changing. But when you see them, they're eating more than you. You know that coworker that seems like they're always eating, or that neighbor that it just seems like they always have something in their mouth, something on their plate. Well, let's talk a little bit today about what they might be doing that you aren't. This is your boy, Coach Mark. This is First Light. Today, we're gonna talk a little bit about intermittent fasting. And we all have different ideas of what intermittent fasting is, but it's just simply you make a time window to which you can feed yourself, all right? So that might be 12 to 6, 12 p.m., 6 p.m. That might be 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. The reason why intermittent fasting works, well, there's a lot of reasons, but one of the main reasons why it works is we have gotten to a point where we just eat when we're hungry, right? And we basically have no time limit, no time schedule. And for most of us, when we grew up, most of us grew up in a stable household, we didn't just eat when we wanted to, right? Because obviously, number one, that grocery bill will get kind of expensive, right? But also, our parents knew better, right? They knew we shouldn't be eating up until the minute we go to bed, right? And they didn't explain it to us the way that it's being explained to us now, but they knew that we just shouldn't eat all day and drink anything we wanted to because it was overeating, right? You know, when your mom used to say, you can't have that, it's gonna ruin your dinner. Well, obviously, we just got used to that cliche saying, but they actually knew that it throws your timing off, okay? So what intermittent fasting does is it gives you a time window. And so for a lot of you, it will give you a calorie restriction or a calorie reduction off the rip just because you're used to eating all the time. There's so many of us, guys, if you started to track it, you probably eat from 7 or 8 a.m. to 8 or 9 p.m. Think about that, right? That's 12 or 13 hours. So for most of us that you see that are in really good shape, guys, who take their nutrition very seriously, we have a definite feeding window. Most of us don't eat past 8 hours a day. So if you're eating 13 hours out of the day, your meals are spaced out throughout 13 hours of the day, that would reduce it by 5. So what does that do during that reduction? Because I know you guys are thinking, hey, Mark, I'm gonna be super hungry if I only eat for 8 hours a day. I'm used to eating all day. I snack in between. So what am I gonna be able to do those extra 5 hours? Well, when you don't eat for that 5 hours, your insulin has a chance to, I don't want to say die down, but you don't have the insulin spikes, right? Every time you eat something and it raises your blood sugar, it causes your body to produce insulin, and that helps the nutrients go from your blood to wherever your body needs it to go, okay? But when we don't eat, your insulin does not spike, okay? So it reduces your insulin spikes. And why does that help you when you're trying to lose fat, lose inches? Because as we talked before, guys, when insulin is present in the bloodstream, the body will not use fat for energy because there's other nutrients in the bloodstream that the body can use for energy, okay? So that's basically, that's a very simple way of explaining to you why we want the least amount of insulin spikes possible, okay? Also, what happens is, I find with a lot of my clients that they end up having decision fatigue in the evenings. So when we put a time window on around our feeding, we don't end up eating as late, right? And so when we don't eat as late, we find that our selection is different. Our selection is different. Guys, you're gonna select different items to put on your plate the earlier in the day that you decide to eat. It is a real thing because obviously, guys, when it's 7, when it's 8, when it's 9 o'clock, you're tired from the day. You're mentally exhausted, right? There's so many things you could have gone throughout that day. So when you decide to eat something, not only are we not making the best decisions because we've made 100,000 decisions today, we also have the habit of eating certain things at night, okay? And those things are many, many, many times empty calories, guys, empty calories. when we say empty calories, we just mean foods that are high in calories and void of nutrients. They're just not nutrient dense. So you're sitting there eating a bag of chips, and that bag of chips is basically doing nothing for you but putting sugar in your blood, in your bloodstream. So when you have a fasting window, you keep the insulin spikes down, you cut calories naturally, because a lot of times, guys, when we count calories, when you track someone's calories that eats 12, 13 hours a day, a lot of times they're eating 3,000 and 4,000 calories a day just because they continue to snack and graze, and oh, I'm just gonna eat this because it's in the break room, and oh, it's 9 o'clock, I'm gonna eat this while I watch my favorite show. A lot of times that's why their calories are so high. It's not because it's not necessarily because they overeat. The result is that they overeat, but they're not setting out to overeat. They're not just saying, oh, I'm just gonna be gluttonous today. So what happens is, when we're intermittent fasting, we end up cutting our calories, right, by default, because we're just not eating for as long a period of time. So the insulin spikes go down as well. Like I said, what happens is you build a different sense of discipline as well. Guys, when you have to refrain from eating, when you have to refrain from eating and you have the food available, that creates a different type of discipline. I'm telling you guys, all the years I've been in health and fitness, there is no practice, there is no habit, there is absolutely no method that I've seen be more effective with every single person alive, more than fasting, to build discipline. Because guys, if you can keep from eating, the one thing you've been doing since you were born, a lot of us, we would say we were consuming nutrients before we were born. But since the day you were born, you were eating, and you probably ate every day. To be able to refrain from eating when you have food available creates an immense amount of discipline within you, and that sticks with you. So if you have been thinking about making a change and you need to spark the fat loss, or you need to spark your habit building by trying something new, trying something different, I suggest intermittent fasting. Guys, you don't have to cut your feeding window in half. So if you're the person who eats from 8 to 8, okay, 12 hours, you can't cut it down to 6 right now. That's probably not going to work too well, okay? But you can cut it down hour by hour, week by week. So week 1, let's cut it back to 7. 7 p.m. is your cutoff time. Next week, you cut it back to 6, okay? Or maybe you stay at 7 for 2 weeks. Then you cut it back to 6 2 weeks later. And you keep going like that for every 2 weeks, till you get to maybe a 6 hour window that you're eating. And I'm telling you guys, a lot of success you'll see. A lot of success. And that's without changing what you're eating. That is just changing the time window. We want to reduce insulin spikes. We want to make better choices. And we want to build some discipline. That's how it goes. It's your guy, Coach Mark. It's First Light.